Have you ever noticed how some older folks walk with a quiet confidence, stable, grounded, and almost immune to the missteps that come with age? Now here's something few people talk about. 1 out of every 4 adults over 65 will suffer a fall this year. But there's a rare group, men and women well into their 70s, even 80s, who seem untouched by this statistic. What's their secret? Falling isn't just a minor mishap. Among seniors, it's the leading cause of fatal injuries. Yet some individuals seem to walk through life as though they've uncovered a hidden map the rest of us haven't seen. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 7 walking techniques practiced by seniors who almost never fall. These are not complex routines or time-consuming drills. They're small, subtle shifts in the way you move recommended by top geriatric physical therapists, yet rarely taught outside of clinical settings. And wait until you hear about technique number 4. It's something you do dozens of times a day, but likely in the exact wrong way without realizing it. Let's start with a story that changed the way I see walking forever. Meet Walter, a retired naval architect now 73 years old. Just 2 years ago, Walter had what he calls his season of slips. In only half a year, he fell 3 times, with the final fall breaking his hip and landing him in the hospital. "I thought that was it," he recalled. "My freedom gone." His daughter started looking into long-term care facilities. Walter believed his independent days were over. But then, during rehab, a seasoned physical therapist introduced him to a new way of walking, not just with more care, but with intention and rewiring. Walter didn't just regain balance. He reinvented it. A year later, he was hiking trails with his grandsons. He hasn't had a single fall since. What changed? Not a miracle. Not a fancy device. Just a method, one built on understanding movement, one footstep at a time. Over the past 2 years, I've interviewed geriatric movement specialists, observed elders with extraordinary mobility, and studied patterns of fall resistance in adults in their 80s and 90s. And across all those insights, I found one thing clear. The way you walk is the way you age. These techniques I'm about to share are simple, powerful, and once internalized, can become your new default way of moving. If you've noticed even slight changes in your balance, if you or a loved one have stumbled recently, or if you simply want to stay independent as long as possible, then this is for you. And I urge you, don't skip number 4. It involves a daily action so ordinary, so automatic, that most of us never think twice, and yet, done wrong, it silently destabilizes us. If this message resonates, hit the like button, it helps us reach others who need this knowledge. And don't forget to subscribe for future insights backed by science, told through real stories, and designed to help older adults live boldly, move freely, and walk with dignity. Are you ready to transform how you move through the world? Type the word balance in the comments if you're ready to rewrite your rhythm, step by steady step. Technique number 1, the secret starts not at your feet, but in your gaze. It might surprise you to hear this. But the first key to walking more safely has absolutely nothing to do with your legs. It starts with your eyes. Let me ask you, where do your eyes go when you walk? If you're like most older adults, you probably stare at the ground, just a few steps ahead, hoping to catch any cracks or bumps before they catch you. It seems smart, doesn't it? But here's the paradox. Looking down too much is actually making you more likely to fall. That habit, so instinctive and cautious, throws your entire alignment off balance. Your head tilts forward. Your upper back tenses. Your shoulders curl inward. And most importantly, your balance system receives incomplete, distorted information about your surroundings. That's where something called the 3-point gaze can quietly revolutionize how you walk. Mr. Harold, a 72-year-old former surveyor, learned this technique during rehab after a painful fall that left him sidelined for weeks. At first, it felt wrong, he chuckled. I was sure I was gonna trip if I didn't keep watching every crack in the pavement. But just a few days into practicing this new method, his entire posture began to shift. Not only did he walk taller, he walked calmer. Here's how the 3-point gaze works. Step 1, your mid-range anchor. Keep your eyes softly focused about 10 to 15 feet ahead, just far enough to anticipate obstacles, but not so close that your spine hunches. This zone is where safety and posture meet. Step 2, your distant horizon. Every 10 to 15 seconds, lift your gaze toward a far-off point, a tree, a doorway, the end of the sidewalk. This simple motion triggers your spine to elongate, your chest to open, and your breathing to deepen. It reorients your whole body upward. Step 3, your peripheral radar. This is the part most people forget. Train your side vision without turning your head to stay aware of motion and space around you. With practice, your brain will start detecting shifts in your environment even before your feet get there. Mr. Harold practiced this every morning as he circled his neighborhood. He'd pick a bench in the distance. Let his eyes fall softly on the pavement ahead. And every few seconds, glance back up, resetting his balance from the top down. In just 2 weeks, he told me, I noticed I was walking taller. My breath felt fuller. And I wasn't anxious anymore. I trusted my steps. There's hard science to back him up. A 2020 study in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that eye position significantly influences walking mechanics. When seniors looked down, researchers recorded increased postural sway and shorter, choppier steps, both indicators of fall risk. But when they used the 3-point gaze, their walking became smoother. Their steps lengthened. And their reaction time to unexpected obstacles improved by nearly 20%. Let's be honest. Have you caught yourself staring down while walking? If you have, drop a quick guilty in the comments. You're not alone. Awareness is where real change begins. But here's the real kicker. The 3-point gaze is only part of the equation. To truly solidify your balance, you'll need technique number 2, and it starts not at the top, but from the ground up. Technique number 2, the forgotten rhythm beneath your feet. Most people think falling is about weak legs or shaky balance. But in truth, one of the most overlooked causes is the way your foot touches the ground. Let's rewind time for a moment. Ever watched a toddler learning to walk? They move with a grace that's built into our design. Heel touches first, weight rolls through the sole, then a soft push from the toes. Fluid. Natural. Safe. But somewhere along the path of aging, many adults unknowingly develop flawed walking patterns. Some start slapping their whole foot down flat. Others tiptoe forward with their toes leading the way. Both styles sabotage stability. Landing flat-footed removes your body's ability to absorb impact and shift weight smoothly. And walking toe first? It's like trying to balance on a tightrope. Your base becomes dangerously narrow. There's a name for the ideal motion we were built for. Heel-to-toe roll. And yes, it makes all the difference. Here's how it works. Each step should begin with your heel meeting the ground. Your weight should then glide along the outer edge of the foot, finally pushing off with your toes, sending you gently into the next stride. This movement creates a triangle of support, using the heel, outer foot, and toes as a stabilizing base. It lets your ankle do its job, absorbing and distributing force with every step. Mr. Harold, the same man who struggled with posture just months ago, confessed, I had no idea I was landing with my whole foot for years. The first week doing this felt robotic. But by week 3, I was steadier. Stronger. And it just clicked. According to Dr. Elaine Corwin, a rehab specialist with over 3 decades of gait analysis experience, the heel-to-toe technique activates the full range of ankle motion, improves muscle coordination, and prevents the jerky, unstable movements that often precede a fall. Now, if you've got foot pain, arthritis, or stiffness that makes this motion tough, don't panic. Start small. Shorten your stride, slow it down. The point is not speed, it's control. And yes, the right pair of supportive shoes can make a world of difference. We'll dive deeper into ideal footwear in technique number 5. For now, here's a simple way to train your muscle memory. Find a hallway or quiet stretch of sidewalk. Walk slowly in a straight line. Focus, heel down, roll forward, toe push. Just 10 mindful minutes a day is enough to rewire your default stride. In fact, try it now. Take 5 steps using the heel-to-toe roll. If you feel a noticeable difference in your stability, drop a smooth in the comments. That subtle glide? That's your body remembering how to trust the ground again. And now, we move upward to technique number 3, which addresses what physical therapists call the forgotten stabilizers. A set of muscles crucial for every step, and yet almost no one trains them. Technique number 3, strength from the center, awakening the forgotten stabilizers. What keeps you upright when your foot hits an uneven patch of ground? It's not just your legs. Not just your reflexes. It's something deeper, something most people completely forget. Your core. Now, when most folks hear core muscles, they picture gym workouts, six-pack abs, or beach-ready fitness buffs. But in reality, your core isn't just for looks. It's the central command system for your body's balance. Here's the hidden truth. As we age, many of us unconsciously switch off our core while walking. The result? The midsection goes slack. The lower back tightens. The hips and knees begin overcompensating. This sets off a chain reaction that destabilizes your stride and elevates your risk of falling with every step. Mr. Harold once admitted, "I never thought my stomach muscles had anything to do with balance. But the first time I activated my core while walking, I felt like someone had tightened the bolts on a wobbly table. Everything clicked into place." This technique is called core engagement, and it's surprisingly simple. No crunches. No planks. No gym mats. Instead, physical therapists recommend something called the zip-up technique. Here's how it works. Imagine gently pulling your belly button inward toward your spine. Not sucking it in, just a light lift and tightening, like zipping up a snug jacket from the inside. It's subtle. No one around you will even notice. But you'll feel it, a sense of steadiness from the center out. Aim for 20 to 30% of your maximum effort. Just enough to offer support, not so much that you stiffen or hold your breath. At first, Mr. Harold struggled to remember. So he got clever. He placed small colored dot stickers on key spots around his home. On the fridge. Next to the door handle. On the bathroom mirror. Each time he spotted one, he'd do a mental check-in and activate his core for the next minute of walking. The science behind this is powerful. According to research from the National Institute on Aging, seniors who consciously engage their core during movement show better recovery when they stumble, and a significantly lower risk of falls on uneven surfaces. One of the biggest mistakes people make? Tensing too hard. Remember, this isn't about locking your body. It's about supporting it, gently and consistently. You should still be able to breathe normally and hold a conversation. For those with back pain, this technique often feels surprisingly soothing because it gives your spine the support it's been silently asking for. Start with just a few minutes a day. Over time, your body will begin to integrate this new pattern until it feels second nature. So, be honest. Have you ever thought about your core when walking? Tell me in the comments. Because activating this hidden system could be the difference between walking nervously and walking empowered. But here's where things get even more interesting. Technique number 4 shines a light on a part of your body you use every single step. And chances are, you've been using it the wrong way all along. Technique number 4, the invisible levers that guide your balance. Let's talk about something so ordinary, you might never have questioned it. What are your arms doing when you walk? Chances are, if you're like most older adults, the answer is not much. Some keep them stiff at their sides. Others fold them across the chest. And many barely move them at all. But here's the quiet truth. Still arms can silently sabotage your stability. Now, rewind for a second and picture how a child walks. Their arms swing effortlessly back and forth, naturally in sync with their legs. No one teaches them. The body just knows. But as we age, stress, stiffness, and fear creep in. And suddenly, that natural pendulum is gone. Replaced by tension. By restriction. By caution. But this small change, this stiffening of the arms, comes at a cost. Your arms are not accessories. They are stabilizers, the hidden levers that help regulate balance and rhythm with every step. When your right leg steps forward, your left arm should swing forward to counterbalance. This diagonal movement calms rotation in the upper body and anchors your entire gait. It also enhances something called proprioception, your internal sense of where your body is in space. When your arms move correctly, your body can correct itself faster, more intuitively, and with less energy. Mr. Harold discovered this by accident. "I had no idea I was walking like a statue," he laughed. "My daughter said I looked 10 years younger just by swinging my arms again." He followed a simple 3-day reset. Day 1, practice exaggerated arm swings for 5 minutes. Swing a bit more than feels natural. This helps reawaken those forgotten motor patterns. Day 2, walk at your normal pace, but bring full awareness to arm-leg coordination. Right foot, left arm. Left foot, right arm. Day 3, focus on relaxing your shoulders while keeping that swing going. Let movement flow from the shoulder socket, not from the elbow or wrist. Now, for ideal technique, physical therapists recommend keeping your elbows bent at about 45 degrees. Your arms should swing forward and back, not across the body. Imagine a pendulum tracing a line beside your torso, never cutting across your center line. Studies from the University of Michigan Gait Laboratory reveal that natural arm swing can reduce energy expenditure by nearly 8%. Improve recovery time after a stumble by 15%. And most impressively, lower fall risk in seniors by up to 30% just by restoring that simple arm rhythm. One common mistake? Swinging arms across the body, instead of keeping them in a straight, forward-back motion. This twist actually destabilizes the spine and breaks your stride. So ask yourself, do your arms move when you walk, or do they just tag along? Try swinging them mindfully during your next walk. Then come back here and share your experience. Because sometimes, the key to better balance isn't under your feet. It's swinging right beside you. And next, we'll explore a powerful technique involving your eyes and ears, yes, both, that may just become your new superpower against uneven terrain. Technique number 5, strength from the soul, rediscovering the forgotten intelligence in your feet. If you're focused on walking safely, chances are you're paying attention to your legs, your balance, maybe even your posture. But here's the real question. When was the last time you thought about your feet? Not just how they feel, but how they function. As your foundation. Your sensors. Your natural shock absorbers. Here's what science has uncovered. As we age, 2 crucial changes happen beneath the ankle. And they silently affect every step you take. First, the sensory nerves in the bottom of our feet, the ones that help us feel texture, pressure, and position, begin to dull. Doctors call this age-related peripheral neuropathy. Your brain receives less feedback about the surface you're walking on. Second, the small, powerful muscles in your feet begin to weaken. Why? Because they've been confined for decades inside stiff, overly supportive shoes that have done the work for them. Now imagine this. A brain that's receiving fuzzy signals. And feet that are too weak to adjust when the ground changes. That's a recipe for instability and a leading reason many seniors fall. Mr. Harold had never considered his shoes were part of the problem. Until his physical therapist looked at his thick-soled loafers and said, "Those are balance blockers." It turns out, overly cushioned shoes, the kind that feel soft and safe, actually isolate your feet from the world. Experts call it proprioceptive insulation, a fancy way of saying you can't feel the floor. The solution? Smarter footwear, built not just for comfort, but for connection and control. Here are 3 non-negotiables to look for in balance-friendly walking shoes. A low, wide heel, not totally flat, but no more than 1 inch higher than the toe box. A flexible front sole, so your foot can roll and sense the ground. A secure closure, laces or Velcro, not slip-ons or loose loafers. Mr. Harold made the switch to a pair that met all 3 and noticed an immediate difference when walking on gravel, grass, or uneven sidewalks. But shoes alone weren't enough. He also began a daily foot strengthening routine, just 5 to 10 minutes a day. Toe spreads, sit down. Spread your toes wide. Hold for 5 seconds. Repeat 10 times. Towel scrunch, use your toes to pull a small towel toward you on the floor. Marble pickup, place marbles on the floor and pick them up using only your toes. It may sound simple, but the results are powerful. A study in the Journal of Podiatric Medicine found that seniors who practiced these exercises for just 6 weeks improved their balance scores by up to 30%. Even better, participants said they felt more confident walking on tricky surfaces like sand, gravel, or grass. Dr. Emily Splow, a podiatrist and movement scientist, explained. Your feet contain over 200,000 nerve endings, they're meant to guide you. But they can't do that in shoes that silence them. The right footwear combined with simple strengthening? That's the foundation of real stability. So, take a look at the shoes you wear every day. Are they letting your feet feel the ground? Are they helping your body react or working against it? If you're ready to rethink your shoes and strengthen the feet that carry you, type grounded in the comments. Because next up, we dive into a powerful shift that gave Mr. Harold something he hadn't felt in years. Confidence while walking on uneven terrain. Technique number 6, walking on rails, why narrow steps can throw you off balance. Most falls don't begin with a stumble. They begin with a pattern, a subtle mistake repeated every step, until it adds up to disaster. And for many older adults, that mistake is this. Walking with your feet too close together. It may look tidy. It may feel natural. But this narrow step style actually mimics walking a tightrope. Shrinking your base of support from a wide, steady rectangle to a single, wobbly line. Mr. Harold didn't know he was doing it. His therapist caught it during a balance session. Every time you take a step, your foot crosses an invisible center line. That's why your body sways from side to side. He had unknowingly built a habit that robbed him of stability. But the fix? Surprisingly simple. It's called the widened base technique. All it means is this. Position your feet hip-width apart while walking. Not exaggerated. Not wide stepping. Just enough to create a rectangle beneath your body, a solid platform to carry your movement. To retrain his steps, Mr. Harold got creative. He placed 2 strips of painter's tape on the hallway floor. Each one spaced exactly to match his hip width. Every day, he walked along the lines, carefully keeping each foot on its track, like rails on a train. After 2 weeks, he said, the spacing became second nature. I could feel the difference instantly, especially on rough paths like gravel or grass. This method isn't one size fits all. Taller people may need a bit more space. Those with hip stiffness or arthritis might begin with a narrower stance and gradually adjust as their comfort improves. One helpful mental trick? Visualize yourself walking on 2 parallel train tracks. Each foot should land on its own track, never crossing over. You don't need to look down. The image alone can keep your body aligned. Research from the Johns Hopkins Gait and Balance Lab found that walking with hip-width spacing can reduce side-to-side sway by up to 40%. Lessen reliance on arm flailing for balance. Dramatically lower fall risk, especially during turns or when walking on uneven terrain. Dr. Lisa Constantius, a specialist in fall prevention, put it simply. A narrow gait is often the first domino in a sideways fall. By restoring an optimal base, we create a foundation for confident movement. So here's your task. Next time you walk, pay attention. Are your feet crossing the center line? Or are you moving forward on sturdy rails? Tell me what you discover in the comments. Because sometimes, the safest step is just a few inches wider. Technique number 7, the power of the pause, mastering the moments that matter most. If you followed all 6 walking techniques so far, you're already moving more confidently, more steadily. But there's one final secret that may be the most powerful of all. Because it has nothing to do with how you walk. And everything to do with what happens between your steps. Here's the truth almost no one talks about. Most falls don't happen while walking in a straight line. They happen during the transitions, the brief, quiet moments when your body shifts gears. We're talking about things like standing up from a chair, turning to answer someone, stopping suddenly, stepping sideways, walking through a doorway, moving from carpet to tile or wood to concrete. These moments are what experts call transitional phases, tiny windows where the body must recalibrate. And if your balance system isn't given time to adjust, that's where missteps happen. Mr. Harold learned this lesson the hard way. My therapist noticed I had a habit of whipping around without warning. I'd pivot too fast, especially when someone called me from behind. She introduced something that completely changed my sense of control. It's called the mindful pause. And it's built on one deceptively simple rule. Before any change in motion, pause just 3 seconds. In that pause, you do 3 things. Stabilize your stance, plant both feet, steady your upper body. Engage your core, gently activate the muscles we discussed in technique number 3. Direct your gaze, look toward the direction you intend to move. Only then do you proceed, especially if you're turning or moving across surfaces. And instead of twisting your upper body while your feet stay still, use what therapists call the pivot in step method. First, stop. Then lift your foot, rotate it toward the new direction. Finally, let your body follow, all in one fluid, controlled movement. Mr. Harold practiced this in the places where he moved without thinking. Getting out of his favorite chair, turning at the top of the stairs, entering his narrow bathroom. I even stuck red dot stickers in those places, he said with a grin. They reminded me to pause until it became instinct. And it worked. A study from the Oregon Health and Science University Fall Prevention Lab found that 87% of falls in older adults occurred during transitional moments, not while walking normally. More impressively, their research showed that adding a 3-second pause before movement reduced falls by 47%. That's not just a tip. That's a game changer. Want to make this habit stick? Try this. Choose 3 to 5 transition zones in your home, places where you turn, step, or change surfaces. For 1 week, consciously pause for 3 seconds every time you reach them. Breathe. Stabilize. Then move smoothly, with intention. Let's be real. When was the last time you nearly tripped? Was it during a pause or a rush? Leave a comment below and share your story. Because sometimes, the most life-changing step is the one you take after waiting 3 seconds. 7 steps that don't just change your walk. They change your life. These 7 walking techniques? They're not isolated tricks. They work together like parts of a finely tuned orchestra. The 3-point gaze keeps your posture upright and your focus forward. That posture supports the natural roll from heel to toe. Core activation adds internal stability, allowing your arms to swing freely. A widened step stance creates a solid base for every movement. And when all of these align, your transitions, those risky little shifts, become steady, safe, and confident. When practiced in harmony, these aren't just walking techniques. They're a blueprint for moving through the world with freedom again. Now imagine this. You're walking down a familiar street. Your shoulders relaxed. Your gaze lifted. Your feet land with purpose. Your body flows naturally from turn to stop, from doorway to open path. Gone is the fear. In its place, confidence, grace, and quiet joy in motion. You're not just walking better. You're living better. Let's quickly review what we've learned. 1. 3-point gaze, look ahead, not down. 2. Heel to toe roll, let your foot land the way it was designed to. 3. Core engagement, activate your inner stabilizer. 4. Arm swing reset, let your arms move and balance your rhythm. 5. Foot strength plus smart shoes, build a base you can trust. 6. Widen your base, walk on rails, not a tightrope. 7. Mindful transitions, pause before every change. Mr. Harold's story reminds us, transformation is possible. Once shaky and unsure, he now walks tall, free from fear, fully engaged with life again. And he's not alone. Patricia, 78, shared. I realized every close call I had happened during quick turns. Adding the 3-second pause changed everything. Robert, 84, said. I had no idea how narrow my steps were until someone pointed it out. Widening them felt strange, and then suddenly, safe. And as Dr. Elizabeth Morrow said, the aging brain still learns. Repetition rewires. These techniques don't just prevent falls, they restore movement that feels human again. So here's your invitation. Start today. Start with one. And build from there. Within a week, you'll notice the shift. Within a month, you'll walk like it's second nature. And within a year, you may just forget you ever feared falling. Which of these 7 changed you most? Drop a number in the comments. If this helped you, like and share it with someone you care about. One shared video could prevent one devastating fall. And remember, it is never too late to change how you move through this life.